when will artificial general intelligence happen?
My best guess is we get to human level AGI within 2 to 4 years from now. Once you get there, I think it's not long after till we get to super intelligence, which we can think of as AGI with a level of general intelligence way beyond that of human beings.
What is going to accelerate this push? We talk about 2 to 4 years. Is there like another model that's going to come out that's going to allow that to happen?
I think current mainstream commercial AI approaches, like large language models such as ChatGPT and Claude and so forth, they're not in themselves adequate to get us to human level AGI. They can be part of the story and they can be integrated with other things to get us to human level AGI. So it's not just like a new dot version like, ChatGPT 6.5 is going to be human level AGI. We will need a different sort of AI architecture. However, I don't think you need like a new kind of computer hardware or something, right? Like I think it's just advances in what kinds of AI software we're deploying on our networks, and there's now so much energy and enthusiasm and resources going into AGI that I think we can make some radical advances in AGI algorithms and systems in just a year or two of time, because we can do in a year now what would have taken 10 or 20 years before, partly because we have large language models to help us do development really fast.
So it's really just the acceleration that you're seeing that's giving you that idea of AGI coming in 2 to 4 years.
I mean, the functionality of LLMs is amazing, right? Like if you play around with the smartest models, like say ChatGPT 5.5 Pro, I mean, this can do math, physics, and software development in many respects better than any human. Yeah. Although there are some things they don't do well, so they need to be used together with brilliant human minds at this point to get the most out of them, right? But clearly, even though these systems are not AGIs, and we need some new architectural breakthroughs to get to AGI, like the amazing functionality of these systems tells us something, right? So like we have that, we see what these systems do already, and then we can see there's a whole lot of other algorithms and techniques in the AI field that will complement what LLMs do, but have never yet been deployed at scale. But we can do that in the next couple of years also.
Kai, what does AGI mean to you?
AGI means to me a system that is recursively self-improving, that is human level intelligence or beyond. And when you say recursive self-improvement, my understanding is that you're going to have exponential growth in terms of how intelligent the system is, which would then fast track to superintelligence or ASI, artificial superintelligence. I guess that's what it means to me. I also have concerns with that. I think that this is one of the most important topics. It's actually, in my mind, the most important topic facing the world by far right now, is the development of AGI and ASI, how it's developed, and what kind of ethics and care we put on that development.
Recursive self-improvement is an aspect of AGI. It's not necessarily a huge aspect of the first human level AGI that you get. It is something that's very important for the transition from the first human level AGI onward to superintelligence. So the essence of general intelligence is the ability to generalize, to take an imaginative leap beyond what you know and what you're taught to do. So if you have an AI system that's really good at doing stuff, but it sticks pretty close to what it's trained for and what it's programmed for, that may be a very capable system, but it's not a powerful AGI. And current large language models are like that. They're really good at coding, they're really good at math, they can answer a lot of questions. But if you try to get them to do like frontier research that leaps way beyond the current state of knowledge, they kind of flail around. They keep bringing you back to what's in their database, right? Whereas human beings, we're not nearly as good at deploying all the knowledge on the web as an LLM is. But every now and then we can take a crazy flying leap beyond everything we know in a way that works by our intuition, right? And we usually fail at that. But the fact that we succeed sometimes is why science has advanced and culture has advanced and why we're not cavemen anymore, right? Like I have 5 kids, right? And each of them, you see like a 1 or 2-year-old kid is displaying general intelligence all the time. I mean, we exercise our general intelligence in everyday contexts, especially as young children. It's not just something that pops up if you're Einstein or something, right? No, recursive self-improvement, that refers to the ability of an intelligent system to study its own self, understand how it works, then tweak itself to make itself even better, right? And then you see the recursive part means you can do it over and over. Like after I made myself a little better, well, then I'm better. I can make myself even better in an even better way, right? Now, humans can do that. And I mean, as kids, we do that in a way. As adults, we can do that. Many adults don't bother and kind of stagnate and then decline, right? But I mean, as an adult, you can keep self-improving, and you can meditate, you can do therapy, you can introspect, and you can keep improving yourself. And AI, however, should be able to recursively self-improve with a lot more oomph than we can, right? Because, I mean, we can't, in spite of what some horror movies will depict, like you can't really open up your head and like tinker with your brain matter to make yourself smarter or something, right? But an AI can do that, right? Like an AI can study how its own programming has worked, can see what worked, what didn't, make some improvements to its own code, its own digital brain to make itself smarter. Then once it's smarter, it can see even better how to make the next improvements, right? We can do that in a way by focused attention on ourselves, but it's very inefficient, right? Where the AI can actually directly improve itself at the programming or hardware level. And that's why many of us think once we get to a human level AGI, that human level AGI should be able to do AI programming and math and understand its own cognition, then it should make itself smarter, and you should see exponential progress even faster than what we're seeing now in the run-up to the first human level AGI. And this ties in with the notion of a singularity, right? So the concept of a technological singularity was introduced by the science fiction writer Vernor Vinge, but it was popularized by my friend Ray Kurzweil in his 2005 book, The Singularity is Near. And what Vinge and Kurzweil meant by it, it's essentially a point in time at which the rate of progress of technological advancement appears infinite to the human observer. Like your phone is making a new Nobel Prize level discovery every 5 seconds or something, right? I mean, so things are happening very fast now. Like I don't learn all the new features on my phone before I have to buy a new phone, right? So I mean, things are going very fast, so that we already can't keep up. But it's not quite that there's a revolutionary new invention on the order of like electricity or the internet every 5 minutes, right? So the singularity is when progress reaches that level. And you can see how the way you get there, you build a human level AGI and it keeps upgrading itself until it becomes a super intelligence, right? And on the timing of this, so Ray Kurzweil, in his 2005 book, he posited we will get to human level AGI by 2029. And he then posited that 2045 is when we would hit a singularity of massive superintelligence. So there's 2 interesting things about these temporal predictions that Kurzweil made. One is 2029 looks rather accurate, given that he said that in 2005, based on a bunch of curve plotting, observing how fast different technologies were advancing. Like we might get there 2027, it might slip till 2032, but like on the whole, it's looking like the guy saw what was coming in a reasonably accurate way. On the other hand, the idea of a 16-year gap between 2029 AGI and 2045 superintelligence at this point seems absurd, because we can see, like, just with what LLMs are already doing, like if you added in human level imagination and into what LLMs are now doing, the recursive self improvement, as Kai mentioned, seems like that could get you from AGI to ASI, artificial superintelligence, in months or some small number of years, not 16 years.
That's exactly the point I was trying to make, because it sounds like recursive self-improvement and singularity and AGI seem to almost be the same thing. So it feels like singularity is
if you zoom out, yeah, but I mean, if you zoom in, which matters to our individual lives, right? If you zoom in, once you built the first human level thinking machine, say an AGI that's as smart as those of us around this table, right? I mean, then what do you have? You have another guy like us, which happens to have a digital infrastructure, right? And I mean, we're all human level intelligences, at least after we wake up and have a few cups of coffee or whatever, right? Like we're all human level intelligences, but we're not immediately taking over the universe, right? And so the moment you get a human level general intelligence, that means the next phase of the game is on, but it doesn't quite mean you're yet at the singularity.
So we've now defined that in the next 3 to 5 years we might even have this big singularity event. It doesn't seem that we're slowing down at all. I think the past year has shown us that regulations, foundations, nonprofits, whatever it is, like we are going all in on this. The narrative is set. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I'm freaked out by it. I'll give you a little anecdote. I recently went to a conference and I pulled aside a leader in regulations with the government. And I talked to him and I said, hey, listen, Elon Musk and others are saying that recursive self-improvement could be here in as little as the end of 2026. They're talking about this. And I explained, first of all, he didn't know what the term was. Second of all, and so far everybody I've talked to in leadership in the government has not understood what the term is. And I said, we're building this army of robots as humanity. We are, right? We have these robots. We're about to hit a threshold where AI is going to basically go out of human control. I would imagine if you're hitting recursive self-improvement, I don't see how you're going to control something that's way smarter than you. And there's a lot of safety tests that are being failed right now along the way. And I said, well, how do you feel about that? And he looked down at me and he goes, you sound like a boy who cried wolf. This is the DREG administration. Like nobody's doing anything until there's an emergency. And I'm thinking to myself, well, there's an emergency. It's going to be too late. And I walked away from that encounter saying to myself, man, boy, we really are on our own.